All right.
Make reference to
Hey y'all. Welcome to Economics. This is my name's Stevie, and today I just wanted to talk a little bit about the effects of COVID-19 on our kids, which I know that a lot of mainstream media is talking about. Um, fear mongering on how to keep our kids safe, right? Which as a mom, of course, it's always, my first thought is, always, keep my kids safe, you know, but at what cost, right? Because now we are setting different standards for who can go to school and who can't. In West Virginia, um, it is you have to be it goes by county, right? So each county, they have a color code, just like the terror alert scale. And if you aren't in the yellow, then you can't go to school. And that sets up different rules for different kids. Some kids get an education, some kids don't. And it just so happens to be that it's southern West Virginia, coal mining country, that seems to be in the orange. Now, Monongalia County, the county that WVU is in, that's in the red. But I live in southern West Virginia, so my kids don't get to go to school. I have to teach them, which I am not a trained professional, I mean, I do my best. I get the worksheets, I get the lesson plans and stuff, but I mean, I'm not a teacher. I'm doing my best. And honestly, I'm in a better position than a lot of these other parents who are still, working 40 plus hours a week. I didn't even find out that they told us that school was going to start on the 9th. And then they told us a day or two before school started that we were going to switch to online schooling and that I was going to have to be the one to be the teacher. And so, I had to break the news to them and say, I know you're excited about seeing your friends and all this stuff, but, we're just going to have to do this at home. Now, these other kids get to go to school. These other kids get a formal education. They get to make, what about these kids that are stuck at home? They don't get to go back to school, and their parents don't have enough money because they're not allowed to work to where they have, adequate food. Or even if they are working, they probably still can't afford food, let's be honest, because it's essential workers that are still working. And we know that they don't get paid anything. So, I know how bad it is and how much of a stress it was to be able to teach my kids and do all this stuff at the last second. I can't even imagine if they have parents that, for all those kids that have parents that are working full time and then have to become a full time teacher, because I'm telling you, it took me pretty much all day yesterday to get through the lesson plans. And it wasn't that strenuous. It's just that because everything is done online, he can't write out his homework anymore. So he's over here trying with a mouse to write his answers. And it took forever to do this stuff. And plus the fact that he hasn't been in school since March of, this year, the longer they're out of school, the more information that they lose. So I'm trying to play catch up and trying to teach him the stuff to get him caught back up to do these lesson plans on top of everything else. And that's from a person that isn't working full time. So what kind of an education are these kids getting that have, their parents are working? Like my sister right now, she's trying to go to school. She signed up for school. Everything was go. Her daughter was enrolled in school. So while her daughter was at school, she was going to be pursuing her higher education. But now she has to be a teacher to her. And now she can't figure out how is she going to teach her and be able to get her degree to where she can make more money, to where she can actually provide, a life for her. Now that is the decision that she has to make. Not only that, but she's also in charge of our little brother's, education. So that's 3 educations that she's in charge of. And I just don't know how she's supposed to do it, even with me helping her, and she's not working. And it's a struggle for either one of us to do it. And we are not teachers. She's going to school for vet school. I try my best, but meanwhile, there's other kids going to school, and the teachers are taking the time out because, let's face it, not as many kids are in school now. So that, the classroom sizes are smaller. So those kids that are going to school get more of a one-on-one focused education. Meanwhile, I'm just like, I don't know how to do math anymore. I mean, it's not that I don't know how to do math. It's just that, the way that they teach math now is different than the way that I was taught. So they're wanting him to do things in a certain way, and it's just so frustrating. And they did a live stream this morning where all the kids got to went online, and they had a group meeting. And my son gets on there and he says, oh, I miss everybody. He was just so excited to see everybody. He's like, kids, real kids. Oh my gosh, he made sure he had all of his clothes planned out because he misses that social interaction. They need that. And then, not to mention the effects of the fear-mongering. I remember when all this first started, when he came home one day, he burst into tears. He thought it was the end of the world because he heard that COVID-19 was going to kill everybody. That's the state of fear that we're putting these kids in. And are they doing active shooter drills during a COVID-19 while everybody's in masks and now they're hiding under desk from a person that wants to come in and kill them? How much fear are we going to put these kids under? How much stress are we going to put these kids under while taking away their education? That's one thing. I've always stressed the importance of that, is because if you don't, your mind is a muscle. And if you don't use it, it will atrophy. And then you will have to actually go through physical therapy. What happens? Because I worked in a hospital. And I've seen a lot of patients that they would come in and, due to all these, different, accidents and things, that they couldn't walk. They were bedridden for months on end. And once they, get well enough to walk, they have to go through and learn how to re-walk again because they went so long without using their muscles that they don't work anymore. It's the same thing with our brains. And these kids have been out of school since March. And you don't think that that's not taking a toll on their brains, on their education? They talk about, well, think about all the deaths we're preventing, but think about the future we're building. What kind of future are we giving our kids when some kids can get an education and some can't? Especially when Southern West Virginia doesn't get to have an education like the rest of them, because we are known for coal mining and we are known as Chemical Valley. And who gives a shit, really, what happens to those kids, right? None of them do. I do. The parents down here do. But I guarantee you none of them in office care about those kids. I just saw a picture of Shelley Moore Capito posing with cancer kids after she let these coal companies and let these chemical companies dump their waste in our water and poison these kids and let them get cancer. Then she's going to turn around and use those same kids as political props. That's all they are to them. That's all we are to them. Props. Class warfare. Exactly, Trina. Let's see who's in the chat. I'm sorry. I got on my soapbox up there for a minute. I forgot to check in with chat. We got Trying to Be Fine, Schulte, Dan L. Values. Oh, no, Schultze, not anymore. No, I don't work anymore. I stood up to them when it came to COVID-19. And I said, if this is as deadly as you say it is, you want me to send people in to work for $8.75 an hour and risk their life for this? I'm not going to do it. Within 2 weeks, I was gone. So, yellow's cool for school in West Virginia. Yeah, cool for school. Here in Radford, Blacksburg, Virginia, the college students have spiked the COVID-19 cases on a national level. Yeah, that's the same thing. Monongalia, yeah, they're in the red while most everybody else is in like green, yellow, and of course, southern West Virginia in the orange.
Not fair.
No, but I mean, it's just like, what is that?
Collateral damage.
Yeah, exactly. They're collateral damage. They don't give a damn about those kids. If they did, they wouldn't put lead and mercury and coal slurry in their water. But they do. If they cared about those kids, they would have given them insurance. They would have made sure that their parents made a living wage. But they don't give a damn about those kids because they're expendable, because they're poor kids. And you know what? It's better for their bottom line, right? Because they're not in school, so they don't have to pay for their school lunches anymore. It's all about money. We're not fighting the elite yet. Yeah, Peter. Yeah, we're definitely. I hope so. I hope it's soon that we start actually taking our aggressions out on them instead of, the other people that are suffering the same, just as, under them. I wasn't seeing the rest of the chat. I thought I was like, oh, okay. All right. You got to figure it out. No, we're not human. We're cattle. We're just cattle. Either we produce something for them or they chop us up as, meat or whatever. But either way, we don't, either way, we don't get a choice in it. Exactly. Now that's trying to be fine. You made a good point. They want the real estate that is under you. That has been a long time. Eleanor Goldfield talked about this in her documentary, The Hard Road to Hope, Hard Road of Hope. I forget now, but yeah, back in the day when all these coal mines showed up, they went to all these, people that lived here and said, oh, well, I see that your kids don't have any clothes, they don't, you need this, you need that. So they would promise them all these things. And all you got to do is sign this little piece of paper. And after they signed away the mineral rights underneath their land, well, isn't it funny that all the courthouses in southern West Virginia just burned down one after another? And these people didn't have, paper showing that they owned the land. So what happens? If they didn't go in and prove that they owned the land, then that means that the coal mines got to keep it. So, and they're doing this all across the nation now, putting all these businesses, they're putting them out of business and then they're buying it up for real cheap. I mean, it's the same thing. They don't have any new tactics. They just keep using the same tactics over and over again. Oh, you watched that, Trying to Be Fine? Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, I was watching that and I was like, thank you, Eleanor, but at the same time, I was livid. Hey, Austin, good to see you. Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that I've always taught my kids is always try your best and don't be an asshole, right? Just be kind to other people and always try your best. I mean, you may not win, you may not, but always just give it 100%, right? And I'm trying my best to teach them and do what I need to do, for them. But, I'm not a teacher. And it just goes to show how critical these teachers are that are underpaid and overworked. I don't know what we're supposed to do with this. I mean, what does this mean for our kids' future? What impact is this going to have on them? When other kids get to go to school and he's behind. And that's with me, trying to teach him these things. I mean, my kid is at way more of an advantage than a lot of these parents. There's a lot of single parents out there that are working full time and trying to take care of their kids. And now on top of that, they get to be a full-time teacher. What kind of education do you think that their kids are getting? And no fault by them. No fault of the parents at all. That is not on them. But there's only so many hours in the day. And you know that these employers are not going to work with you. They say either you show up or you're out of a job, because now there's millions of people waiting in line for your job. Yeah. And who's the ones that suffer the most? It's the kids. It's the kids, because they are completely powerless. They can't pick up an extra shift to make sure they get to eat at night. They can't, just go online and they're not developed enough to know that, hey, I need to pick up the slack, because if I don't, my education's going to fall behind. Do you think an 8-year-old is thinking of that? They are picking on the most helpless bunch of people that there is, and that is the kids.
Who is?
And by they, I mean our government. It's the shareholders. There is no government. There's no corporations. It's all one and the same, because if you're in government, chances are you either came from the corporations, or you're going to go into the corporations, or you own shares in those corporations, or maybe your husband, or wife works with those corporations. But either way, it's all an incestuous group of people, and they're the ones that win, and we're the ones that lose. But mostly it's the kids, because you know what? They know this. They know that you can introduce a trauma to them at a young age. It's easier to screw up a kid and let that kid grow up to be a screwed up adult than it is to take a fully functioning adult that got all the basic necessities and love and education that they needed, and tear that person down. So they keep them down at a young age. So that way that when they grow up, they make they make the wrong decisions, and they don't know what to do, and they don't have the information. Now there's kids out there there's whole families out there that are evicted, that are homeless. What kind of education are these kids getting when there's millions of people getting, evicted? Now they're living in cars or on the street. What kind of an education is that kid getting? None, I promise you, because they don't even have a roof over their head or food or anything. Destroy the children so that way that they grow up. I mean, this is what they've been doing in West Virginia for decades now. Decades. Cripple their future so that way that they don't have a future. That way you can pigeonhole them into, working in a coal mine, or, joining the army, because that's the only option that they have left.
They won't be able to, because they won't have the education to pass the ASVAB test.
So let's go to the chat. Peter says we're ruled by monsters, and for the last 40 years in particular, they've been stealing everything, and they're going to continue to steal everything until we have nothing left to give, and the only thing that we can do is sign up for their, for-profit wars. Austin's app is stock markets need to be dissolved. I like to see that. I think the stock market, I heard somebody say the stock market is just a chart of rich people feelings, which is kind of true.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because, the more we succeed, the more the stock market goes down. It can come back when there are no more homeless or hungry. Yeah, tell you what, I think, what a good rule should be is politicians should make minimum wage, because if it's good enough for the majority of Americans, it's good enough for them, right? And I called Shirley Moore Capito out on that too. I said, you know what? If you can make a living wage and you can have health care provided by the government, why shouldn't everybody else? I mean, of course, it's falling on deaf ears. I mean, it's not even her that runs her Twitter. It's, some, unpaid intern, right? Sometimes when I listen to the radio or watch TV, it's like we're a conquered people who's conquered want us to kill ourselves off. Yeah. Um, yeah, they do. I mean, that's another thing with this coronavirus is, there's people out there. I mean, think about all the suicides out there that are happening because people are isolated and alone. They feel cut off. People that have lost their house, their job, everything. They have nothing left to live for. Nothing. There's nothing left. They've lost everything. There's no hope. And that's what I've seen here with people is, no hope. No hope whatsoever. And I'm not talking about the hope like Obama peddled us. I mean, like actual, like rooted in, a strategy hope. Like I'm armed with the correct information and I have a game plan for changing things kind of hope. Hope that's, rooted in hard work, sacrifice. Not an easy hope. Like if I vote for that person, they're just going to make my whole life better because that is not the case. Has anybody ever given you anything that you have not had to work for? That's just not how the world works. You got to work for every damn thing that you get. And even then, it's not even guaranteed that you'll get anything. Being homeless. Yeah, being homeless is a crime for sure, Austin. Yeah, I mean, you see those things where it's like, benches that have spikes on them and, underneath bridges, spikes set up. Why? Oh no, somebody might, seek refuge under a bridge. Can't let that happen. Oh my gosh, Peter, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know what that's like. And that is one of the hardest things. It took me forever, and I'm still bitter over it. They want us traumatized because you know what happens? Exactly. They want us traumatized because when we're traumatized, we don't have the full power of our thoughts. That means that they can rule us through our subconscious. I mean, it just, and everybody's going through this right now. Everybody's just clawing and scraping just to keep their head above water. Sometimes. I mean, you're not even guaranteed that you're going to keep your head above water all the time. Just maybe every once in a while, you can hope to get that one breath of air that will keep you alive. And that's as an adult that can understand all the things that's causing this and can go out and, apply for all the jobs that I don't get. What these kids don't have that. They do not have the ability to process all of this information and understand that it's not on them, that it's not their fault, that, there's nothing that they could do. They're so helpless. And there's nothing worse than traumatizing somebody that has absolutely no power whatsoever to change the situation. That can't even understand the situation, let alone do anything to change it. It's monstrous. I mean, I don't even know of a word that's vile enough for this. All the while taking away what little education that they get. I mean, let's face it. When they go to school, it's not about critical thinking and setting them up for the future. It's about teaching them to recite what they're told. But even then, like they still need to learn math. Like they still need to learn how to read. At the grade school level, they haven't, really done too much. They are still teaching them things that helps them. I mean, what are we doing? What are we going to do about this?
Vote heard. Non-party voters.
I mean, we just have to dismantle this system.
Non-party voters.
And, okay. And while we're at it, can we just talk about briefly, I'm just going to touch on this, Movement for a People's Party. What do y'all think about that? Yeah, revolution is the only answer, and not Bernie Sanders' revolution. That's for damn sure. I don't either, Peter. Look, it is unsettling to me that I am seeing so many people that I look up to and trust and that I think are generally, thoughtful, compassionate, intelligent people in media that are falling for this. The same people that reported on the corruption of the 2016 election, and even in this election, with Iowa and that shadow app, all this stuff that's going on, the ballots that are thrown out, the votes that are weighted, thrown out, disenfranchisement of voters, all this stuff, and they completely threw that out the window to back the People's Party. And I went through and I started watching about all this stuff especially on the interview that Ron Placone did with Nick Brana. He asked him, what's your strategy? Well, we'll just create a movement. We're going to create a movement. That's his big plan. And then Ron even pressured him on, the election integrity. Well, how do you plan to overcome that? Well, we create a movement for that too. We just create a movement for everything. There's a movement for everything. It's just insanity. And he said, well, it's been done before. Look at what the Republican Party did. Yeah, and look at what the Republican Party is, right? That's what we're fighting against now, is the same party that you're looking to for inspiration is the same party that we're trying to overthrow. If that was the case, why didn't he go to the Green Party? There are third, fourth, fifth parties out there. So what was his motivation for creating his own? It's all going back to go back, just vote, and you can feel good about yourself and be done with it. And that is not going to be the case. We've been voting for how long? Now everybody supposedly gets to vote. Black, white, rich, poor, landowner, non-landowner. Everybody gets a vote, supposedly. But we know that they tamper with that. We know that they set up rules. Like in New York, you have to register for a party 6 months in advance before you can vote. We have, Nico House covered that, how they took ballots and just threw them out. Switch people over to a different party. We've got, interstate cross-check that bumps people off the rolls. And when you only, less than half of Americans even vote in the first place. But yes, let's create another party that can yet again be corrupted. The parties are the problem. They divide us up into these little factions that pit us against each other. What we should be doing is organizing ourselves around policies and boycotting and striking until we get those policies. Because the only thing they care about is money. And until we interrupt their cash flow, we're not going to see any changes, no matter how much we vote. Yeah. Marianne Williamson. I mean, Abby Martin, I absolutely look up to Abby Martin. She inspired me to even, start this channel because, she said the real revolution starts with media. When people start getting information, that's when the revolution can actually start happening. But the media is so controlled by everybody that people don't have access to the real information. So I was like, you know what? That's right. I'm going to start my own channel because, the people that, supposedly represent my state don't represent me, don't represent the people I know. And now she's there, giving these talks at the People's Party. And I don't think that these are bad people. I do not think that she's a bad person. I don't think that Ron is, or Jimmy Dore, any of them. I think that they have the best of intentions, but that's what the road to hell is paved with. So, let's create another party. Let's create another party.
That can get compromised.
That's why, at nonpartyvoters.org, we're fighting to dismantle the party system that keeps us pitted against each other. That's why we're working on protests and strikes and things. We're trying to get people together outside of the system that's been keeping us oppressed. So let's go back up. See what I got to check in and see what y'all are saying about this. They've stolen the government. Okay. Truman Show. MPP kind of smells. Yeah. I think they're delaying tactic funded by the oligarchs. Yeah. Just another way. It's like, oh, well, you can see through the duopoly, right? Well, we have an answer for you. Another party to keep you trapped in voting.
What happened to the Tea Party?
You know, we've already got the Green Party. We've got the Democratic Socialists of America. We've got libertarians. You know, there's all kinds of parties out there. Pick one. Pick one. Either they make sure that they stay down, make sure that they're not winners, and the Green Party has become very complacent in their moral victories. Or, you know, or they co-opt it. You know, isn't it funny that all these people, and I know that, you know, he worked for our revolution. I know that, you know, I can understand how you can work for a company like that and see the flaws and want to step outside the system. So I don't know what his intentions are, but I'm telling you, he's got people in there that are pro-Biden, like Cornel West. And I thought Cornel West was, you know, the shit, man. I thought he was, you know, really smart. And he was really compassionate, but, you know, then he turns around and, you know, just like Noam Chomsky, and just throws all that out the window because they, you know, oh, I'm afraid of the big bad Trump. So we're going to vote for the big bad Biden. That's going to do the same damn thing. Ugh. So he's got all these people that, you know, that's starting the party that have already, you know, they've got that Democratic mentality. They've got that, you know, I can't make decisions for myself. I have to have somebody else make it for me because God knows I'm not smart enough. I'm not capable enough to make decisions on my own. That's how they treat us. You know, if we're smart enough to vote for a politician into office, then why can't we just vote directly on the policies? Cut out the middleman. Peter says they're trying to stall the revolution as long as possible until the climate collapses, us all fighting too hard just to stay alive to revolt. I can see that. People Party and opt out. Look into it. Dan L. Values. People Party and opt out. I'll look into that. Let me write that down. Hold on.
I'll type it and send it to Color.
I gotta have it in my notebook. So I gotta write down everything. I'm not tech savvy, so, you know, I'm lucky I can get a live stream started. People Party, and that's the other thing. I'm trying to do everything online to teach my kid, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's very overwhelming because I'm not used to technology. That's one of the things. Like when you grew up in Southern West Virginia, you don't have internet access, and you don't have money for, you know, computers and gadgets and gizmos. You don't really, you know, you don't get to keep up with the world and the technology in it. People Party and opt out. Okay. Let's see. Let me get through this. Rusty, a while. It's time again to choose the lesser evil. How many gas chambers do you want, Rusty? Joe Biden's promising you 2, but Trump's going to give you 2.5. Marianne Williamson horrified me with her support. I did not know that she supported Biden. Holy shit.
Yeah, she did.
Miss Peace, Love, and, you know, let's vote for the guy that, you know, supported segregation and created the crime bill that's devastated thousands of families, millions of families, maybe. I don't, you know. Oh my gosh, I did not know that, but I don't know how I'm still shocked about these things. How am I still shocked? Yeah. So, I mean, I wish Ron would have asked Nick Brana about that. It's like, okay, so you're idealizing the Republican Party. Obviously, something went wrong there, because if this was the solution to start a new party that everybody, you know, that has the values that you want, then how did the Republican Party end up like this? And how does he, you know, intend for his party, you know, the People's Party, to not end up like that? Because wherever there's power, there's going to be corruption. So, you know, we can't, you know, we were taught, you know, back in my day when we were allowed to go to school, we were taught that there were checks and balances within the government. But there's no checks and balances between the government and the people. That's the most important thing. They don't need checks and balances against the judicial and the executive branch because they all agree on the same thing. They all want the same thing. What they really need is a check on them by us. And it's supposed to be the vote, but the really sad thing is this is the most democracy we've ever had. Everybody's allowed to vote. And it's kind of strange that after the CIA did all these, projects and operations, MK Ultra, all this stuff, into how to, mind control people and how, their truth serums, LSD, how to get people to tell the truth, how to create a Manchurian candidate, how to do this stuff, that all of a sudden, well, you know what, we'll just give you the right to vote. We'll give everybody the right to vote now that they haven't figured out on how to manipulate people. But now, since the invention of the internet, and we can reach out and there's information at the touch of our hands, now we're taking a step back because people can look things up for themselves. When somebody says, well, no, that's not how it is, they say, oh, well, let me just look it up. They'll look it up and say, oh shit, you're right. So now they have to counteract that with, the Department of Homeland Security and, throwing ballots out. This is this is democracy, the most democracy we've ever had. And it's not enough. There's no such thing as a lesser evil. Heads will have to roll. The French had that, the French got that right. Let them eat cake.
Cornbread. Let them eat cornbread.
Yeah. Let them have access to health care. Politics is just the oligarchy's delaying game. I feel Brana dragged his feet up to this point, so we can't vote till 2024. I remember JD interviewing him years ago about the movement. What the fuck? Yeah. I've rewatched all these interviews with all these people that, that I still happen to follow. I've lost a lot of news outlets over the years after they've shown, TYT, all these, different ones that just, fall for this shit. But America was founded on the idea of partisanship. Yeah, they were afraid of democracy. Even our sacred, founding fathers, they were afraid of democracy. They didn't want us to have too much power. So, they put in these stipulations. Well, black people don't really count. White people, well, you only count if you own land. And women, of course, you don't count because if you vote, it's just a double vote for your husband because, you don't have a thought in your head of your own. You're just going to vote however your husband told you to vote. So, none of these people had, they wanted to make sure that the people that could vote voted the way that they wanted them to, that they had the same interests. So now that we're all allowed to vote, they got to rectify that with the Department of Homeland Security. And everybody's just forgetting this. Everybody's forgetting 2016. Everybody's forgetting the beginning of this election. And I feel like a crazy person. Because it's like, do y'all not remember? Even Lee Camp, bless his heart. I really do like him. He does so much good work. But he went and covered a story about how the election is going to be rigged. And within less than 24 hours, he was backing the People's Party. So which is it? Which is it? Is the election rigged and the People's Party is useless? You can't have both. You cannot entertain both thoughts at the same time. So let's...
It's a matter of time.
Austin, you light fires in my trees. Yeah, I hope so. I hope I'll light some fires under some people because, this complacency, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir because, y'all get it. I just wish I had a way to reach people that are like, lesser of two evils still. Why does there have to be parties? There are no parties in the Constitution. Yeah. There are so many. Yes. Yeah. There's some quotes that we have up on non-party voters from, George Washington, not that they were the best of people, they were slave owners, whatever, but, they still knew that parties are not good for democracy. I try not to quote them too much because, they weren't the best of people, but yeah, even they were like, yeah, this shit's bad. This can't end well with parties. Bernie never asked us to wait on him. Why does there have to, okay, I already read that. Yeah, Peter. Peter says there's no way we can win politically soon enough to save the earth. Voting is the slowest means of change. You can vote, but that can't be it. Like, it has to be in combination with something else, with actual, real, tangible things. Vociferous candidate for what we want. By 2024, it will be too late. Renounce sugar and we'll live 10 years longer. Burn. Particularly since the elite own both parties, made the rules and laws to lock out the third parties and own the media. Yeah, but yeah. Chris Foster, Morning Red, it's worth. Oh, damn, that's early. Just about to set off for work. Well, I hope you have a good day at work there, Chris. Damn, that's early. Bernie and Noam will be dead in 10 years. They don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I mean, at least Noam Chomsky, he's like 90.
He folded. That fucking folded, man.
I mean, at least he's got that excuse. But
he's Biden fan now.
Yeah, they own the election system. They own everything. They own the candidates that you even get to vote on. Joe Biden wrote the crime bill. He's one of the greatest slavers in history. He helped put millions of Americans in for-profit prisons. Exactly. He's done the things that everybody's afraid that Trump is going to do.
Especially Black Lives Matter. He's
done the things that Trump wishes he could do. He wishes he could be as corrupt as Joe Biden. Joe Biden's had how many years in politics? Like 47 years in politics. And what has he done besides make things worse? What has he done besides, put people into slavery?
Prison labor.
Ruin lives. And at the same time, he is locking up these people for the same crimes that white people commit, locking them up for life. Bill Clinton is president and laughing about how, I smoked marijuana, but I didn't inhale. He didn't go to prison for life.
He didn't get a blowjob.
And, Obama, same thing. Let's just laugh about how I used to smoke pot. You don't get to do that when there are people out there that are locked up for life. They don't get to see their kids. They lost out on somebody that is there for them, as a father or as a mother, as a provider. Now those kids are in the foster system where they where they could possibly be abused or thrown out in the streets. I mean, they have devastated. Even if we did everything right now to correct everything that Joe Biden did, it would take decades for us to undo everything that they have done. It would take decades. But Joe Biden doesn't get shamed for that. Now Trump, he's a sexist, he's misogynist, he's the worst kind of person. He talked about grabbing him by the pussy. Meanwhile, Biden's out there smelling all the kids, talking about how they're stroking his leg hairs. He has sexual allegations against him. How is he different? He's done the things that we worry that Trump is going to do. But I will give them this, that Trump does have a certain kind of idiotic charisma that Joe Biden and the Democrats don't have. Trump does know how to work a crowd. They don't. They have the personality of a tree stump. So, I guess they're just a little bit jealous that he can get people riled up. But he doesn't know what to get him riled up about. I don't know. He just wants to be, he just wants the attention. Biden was shamed out of politics for blatant plagiarism. Yeah, that too. Yeah, he can't even when he had full functioning, of his brain, he still couldn't even write his own damn, speeches. The next election, they're just going to run somebody that's in a coma. That's it. That's the only option they have left is just just find a coma patient and just run them for office. That way they don't have to go up, they don't have to debate, they don't have to do anything. Just run somebody that's in a coma. Some, gay, black, somebody in a wheelchair that's in a coma. That would be the perfect candidate for the Democrats. Non-party voters are worried about. Okay. Voting is meaningless now. Cybernetics started. Cybernetics. Look that up.
Transhumanism.
Oh, that, yeah, the thing that Elon Musk is doing. I'll catch you later, Austin. It's good having you here. Oh, propaganda's here. Awesome. All right. Hopefully, I'm just about caught up with the chat. All our tech is about cybernetics making androids. Yeah. They're. Yeah. What were those? Damn it! What were those people called in Doctor Who? I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this. Not the Daleks, the Cybermen. That's what they want us. Just
Oh, yeah.
Borg. They just want their perfect little Borg, community to vote and react and do everything that they want them to do. And see, they're gaslighting us. Yeah. And, I get hell for this a lot, but I tend to be on the outside of things. I mean, as much as I enjoy, people, I don't know how you can be normal in this kind of society. How can you be normal when things are so screwed up? How can you, if you are well adjusted to this, if you can thrive in this kind of society, then there's something wrong. I would much rather be somebody on the outside that doesn't quite fit in than to be part of that. That's for damn sure. All right. We'll get caught up with the chat, and then I'm probably going to close this down. They drafted Kamala, and they are busy giving her a good coat of whitewash, no pun intended.
RSFO just joined. RSFO.
We need to recognize that every aspect of our political system has failed. Yeah, I mean, when I first started getting into this, I was like, well, okay, we can't vote. All right, so that's out of the picture. So can we take this up with the, legally? Can we go through the judicial system? Oh, no, that's screwed. That's really screwed. So we don't have the judicial system. We can't take it to court. We can't vote. And they're making, protesting illegal, on a lot of things. They're actually trying to pass bills to where, it's okay to kill protesters. That they talked about that a few years ago. Wow, it's just these comments. Y'all are so nice. I just made life way better for the people who count money. Yeah, exactly. There's no way to fix a child's soul whose father was jailed for their childhood. Yeah, you can't get that back. That's what with reparations, it's just like, how do you put a price on somebody's life? How do you put a price on somebody's life? I mean, if it's supposed to be, the more rare something is, the more expensive it is, right? But what's the most rarest thing there is somebody's life. You cannot recreate that. Once that's gone, it's extinguished, it's gone. You have the memory, but you can never, ever replace that person. You can't just go out and make a new one. you know. So whenever, they kill us, there's no way, when they destroy a life, how can you repay that debt? I mean, they should definitely try after everything that they've done, but how do you repay that? How do you make that right? There's no amount of money in the world that you can give somebody that would make up for ruining their family, taking away a parent or a child. There's no coming back from that. But we need to start trying. And the thing with reparations is you can't pay something that you're not done racking the bill up for. So they're still doing their slavery. They're still, doing their racism. They have their systemic racism. They're still doing all these things. They're still racking up the bill. They are still racking up the bill. Just like they were talking about, oh, well, we want a history of coal museum in West Virginia. It's not history yet. It's still here. How are you going to make it a history museum for coal when it's in everybody's lives? It doesn't, you can't do it. You got to stop the bad thing that you're doing first, and then you can do, then you can make up for it. Then you can start, fixing things and moving forward. But they're not done screwing those people yet. 40 million. Peter said 40 million Americans are going to be evicted in the next few months. Cybermen, yeah. They've always wanted slaves, safe ones who will never revolt. Who else is here? Yeah.
RSFO joined recently, and
our RSFO and
somebody from Russia, I guess.
Ruskies to the rescue. Well, you know what? That's a funny story because, okay, in West Virginia, like, I don't know, a while back, I think it was like during the 30s, maybe, there was a bridge that, people use frequently that we needed, and that our government refused to fix it. So, you know what we did? We wrote to the Russian government, who they accepted. They were going to come over. They were going to fix the bridge. And then our government was like, whoa. Okay. Now we'll go and we'll fix it. But yeah, the Russian government was going to fix our bridge before our government was going to. What is most alarming about? Yeah. So I think I'm going to wrap up there. We've been going for about an hour. This was supposed to be my quick little rant about things, but man, if you know anybody out there, if you're able to, I know that we're all, just trying to survive right now, but if you know anybody with kids, and if you're able, just, try to reach out, do something, help out, either just, try to talk them through it, be there to be a friend and listen, or, whatever you can do to help anybody out. If there's, somebody out there that's facing eviction, or everybody has something that they can do that they offer, to help. And, whatever it is that you can do, just try to do it, and just be kind to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching and being here. I really appreciate it. And I definitely enjoyed the conversation. I've got some things to look into that Dan brought up that I didn't know about. So this is why I love doing the live streams. It's kind of weird that, like when I try to do a video and it's not a live stream, because I really like, having people to bounce ideas off of. And, so, this wouldn't be the same without y'all. So thank you very much. And I will catch y'all next time. Later.